Hello everyone. Okay, we are going to talk about the daily green smoothie. Before I begin, you probably want to know there is already a blog post that really details the daily green as well as a highlight bubble. So today I'm just going to kind of prep it in front of you and then give you some like random tips. So sharpened my knife because we're going to do a little chopping. The biggest thing that people get hung up on the daily green is like the measurements, like how much of each ingredient. The beauty of it is you can decide. There doesn't have to be any sort of like very exact thing to how you make this smoothie. So right now I have 2 cucumbers. So I'm just really quickly like slicing them. They're like an inch or so thick. It's important for you to know too that I do have a Vitamix. The Vitamix, it really does make a massive difference when you make the daily green smoothie. I had like a classic, like Hamilton Beach blender or something like that. I had a Ninja. The Ninja I thought was terrible. If I know there's some of you that probably have it and it is like what was in your budget, which I can totally understand because that's why I started off with a Ninja, but it, honest to goodness, does not hold a candle to the Vitamix. I have the 5200, so I really can't say a lot about other ones, but so what I'm gonna do before I start is just to show you. So this is a daily green bag that is ready to go. Like it's been in my freezer. I'm gonna make the daily green today. So normally what I do is dump it in the bag or dump it into the blender. I dump it into the blender and then I add the coconut water. And I will just kind of sometimes let this sit on the counter for like 30 minutes. You do not have to, but I just feel like it makes it a little bit easier to blend because there's a lot of serious stuff going into this. Also, if you have like a worse blender, you might want to try blending the water and the spinach together first and then adding the other ingredients. A question I get often about the daily green is like, why do you have the bag frozen if you're then going to blend these smoothies that go into your refrigerator? The reason that you have the bags frozen is because when you're prepping them, you can't prep all this ingredients and then stick them in your fridge. Like the bananas would get all gross, things. So you freeze them in order to conserve your bags. Okay, so this, I am just gonna stick this over here to kind of soften for a little bit. So I've chopped my cucumber. I usually use just like Ziploc bags. I have some stasher bags, kind of whatever I have on hand. If I use Ziplocs, a lot of times like this one I just used, I'll stick this just like it is, roll it up and stick it in my freezer so I don't have to clean it, but I can reuse it. So I just kind of start, like I'm putting 4 cucumbers in these bags. So 4 little cucumber slices, 4 in this bag. So I have like 2 left over. Again, I'm not overthinking it. I'm just putting them in 2 other bags. So then I grab my celery. It looks just like this. I've just washed everything, but that's about it. And I just give the celery a rough chop. I do not like these little green leaf parts. Totally fine. They can go in the bags. It's not gonna hurt you. And especially if you're using a strong blender, it's going to get like pulverized. So I slice this other bit of celery and just stick it in these bags. Quart Ziplocs are usually the best size to use. Okay, so I have celery in all of my bags. I have 4 bags going right now. It's kind of nice too, if you can, to just have like a scrap bowl going for anything that you're not needing in your space. So you can keep your space kind of clear. And then I go on to the mango. So I get out my mango, a little bit in here too. Okay, so I grab my mango and I'm just gonna divide it between bags. I usually just do like a handful of mango in each bag. Next, banana. I just grab some bananas, I slice them, I peel them. Again, as you notice, this is not like a intense measurement. If I had wanted to do a 5th bag, I could just kind of like divide everything a little bit more and have 5 bags. I've done this so much that I just kind of know how the bags are gonna go. So I put like basically 2/3 of a banana per a bag. So I'm finishing up the banana. That bag's got it. This bag has it. Get a little bit more in this one. Okay, so now all of the bags have the mango, the cucumber, everything in them. Okay, so I'm gonna seal up the bags and these are gonna go into the freezer. One question I get a lot is why is it called a smoothie if it's actually kind of more of a juice consistency once it has blended and been in your freezer? Great question. The reason that I call it a smoothie and not a juice is because if you've ever juiced something, when you juice something, you literally like pulverize it and you extract the juice from it, but all of the pulp you discard. In this drink, even though it might be a little bit more of a juice consistency by day 2, you are consuming all of these things. So we have not juiced celery. We are consuming celery that has been pulverized. So that is why I call it a smoothie. Now, we did not put the parsley and the cilantro. I'm going to tell you 2 different ways that I do this. There are 2 ways that you can do this. The first way is that you simply chop, and you, especially if you're using a Vitamix, you can really leave like a lot of the stem and it'll be fine. So you can just chop this up and like add some to each bag. Another thing I do often is I actually take the parsley and the celery, I stuff it all into my Vitamix and I fill the Vitamix up with some water and blend it. And then I make ice cubes. And then I just use 2 ice cubes per smoothie. So I'm almost out of ice cubes, which is why I have parsley and celery here. But this is 2 cubes stuck together. This is just parsley and celery. So that's another option you could do, is to do the ice cubes. Or what I've always did before that was just roughly chop this, stuff some in each bag. It'll blend in your blender. Okay, so I just have this quarter cookie sheet and these ice cube trays. I'll just give this one final little and then I'm just going to pour it. And so this might feel like a step you don't want to do. You just want to throw cilantro and parsley into your bags. Totally fine. Sometimes I just do the cubes and then I have cubes for a really long time because I do 2 cubes per bag. So maybe that feels like less cilantro and parsley than if you just put it in. It might be. Again, this is not there's no laws here. I'm not going to have enough, so I'm going to stick the rest of this in the fridge in a jar and then make more ice cubes later. Also, I'm making a royal mess, but you get the gist. So I'm just going to let these guys freeze, and then I'll get one more batch. What is another thing I wanted to tell you? So another thing too about this entire smoothie is that, again, it has a lot to do with the method. We are attempting to sit here, chop a lot of things, make a lot of bags, but this bag, especially when you add the parsley and cilantro, and then you're going to add a 16-ounce bag of frozen spinach when you go to blend it, it's going to make a 64-ounce smoothie. So that is, basically 8 cups of smoothie. So at our house, it's 5 jars of smoothie. So one bag is going to give you 5 jars. So if you're single, you're by yourself, that's 5 smoothies for you. In our house, that lasts 2 days because people are drinking them like crazy. So one bag, so that's 5 jars, 10, 15, 20. We have 20 smoothie jars in this one little prep session of making the smoothie. Now, a lot of people have asked me, do you really drink this every single day? Yes and no. If it's made and in my fridge, I drink it. But we definitely especially if everybody's drinking it, I really can't keep up. I do not lose sleep over this. It is 100%. If you love it and you want to continue to make it and have it in your freezer and prep it and keep that rotation going, go for it. If you're I like it, but I drink it twice a week or whatever, you do you. If you'd rather drink 2 big ones a week instead of having the smaller jars, go for it. In the wintertime, I do drink this less often because a lot of times in the afternoon, I have my hot honey lemon ginger water. It's cold out, but in the summertime, we are much more likely to have this on hand. And one of my favorite things to do in the summertime is take a jar, throw it into my 32-ounce Nalgene and mix the rest with coconut water and just shake it. And it's a coconut water green smoothie, big 32-ounce drink. If it's a really hot day, where it is often here. Oh, I love it. Okay, so what else do you need to know? You can absolutely purchase and juice lemons and limes or freeze ice cubes or whatever you want to do. For me, just because I want it to have a good amount of liquid, so this is the one that's kind of been sitting with some coconut water. I just shake my lemon juice, bloop, grab my lime juice, shake my lime juice. It's brand new. Also, you could freeze, if you did the cube method, you could have the cubes in the individual bags or just keep a bag of cubes and you drop 2 in. So now I'm gonna go and blend this. And then when it's really getting good in the blender, I'm gonna add the frozen spinach. By the way, frozen spinach has been so hard to find here. I do not know why. I've asked the grocery store, they don't know why. But I have just been buying organic spinach and sticking it in the freezer. So I have 2 bags of this because they're 5 ounces each. So I'm just gonna do both of these in the green smoothie. I'll take you with me. A question I always get to is for one smoothie bag, one frozen bag that I just put in my freezer, you are going to use an entire bag of spinach to go with this. So I made 5 bags or 4 bags today. I need 4 frozen bags of spinach to go with that. We normally have a lot of frozen spinach except for the shortage. All right, you ready for this? It's very full, which is pretty common for me. So when I go to take the top off, oh, see how full it is? Okay, so I'm just gonna start pouring. I'm losing a little bit, it's okay. All right, so we have 1 big jar, 2 jars. By the way, some people like to put ginger in this. I think that is wonderful. Ginger does not, it doesn't make my kids love it. And so we don't do ginger, but it's great. So I right now have 4 jars that are basically this size, 1 massive jar. I'm gonna go ahead and put some into this sippy cup for Millie, because she's gonna want some. It works really well in these munchkin cups. So yeah, so now I'm just gonna put a top on these and put them in my fridge. And then they will have a little bit of separation. I'm struggling here. Okay, when they are in your fridge, they will probably start to separate a little bit. That's why you store them in a mason jar and not a cup. Because when you get one out, get a lid. Okay, so I get these lids. They're just like easy plastic lids. The reason I put a lid on it and store it in the mason jar, so when I take it out of the fridge and it's separated, I just shake it really fast and then drink it. The color will also get darker as the days go by. It's totally fine. Ours never last over 5 days in this house. I think 5 days is a good limit of how long you should drink them for before you make a new batch. But I'm gonna line these up in the fridge. Also, put these in your prime real estate in your fridge. You will be so happy to open your fridge and see this bright green, delicious beverage. All right, lastly, just for you to see about the Vitamix. I'm not affiliated with Vitamix. I'm not sponsored by Vitamix. Wish it, but it just really is like a superior, it's just really smooth. So if you're this type of person that's like, I don't think I could stomach drinking that the next day, it's like, there's nothing, it's just so smooth. So it really does have the consistency of a juice. It's not chunky in the least. I have an entire blog post about why I love my Vitamix. As y'all know, I am balling on a budget. I care about that for y'all. I don't want to convince you to buy tons of expensive things. This is one of the few things that I'm like, it's superior. And so if you really love smoothies, you should invest in one. All right, coming back, just so you see, this is a smoothie that's been in my fridge for 4 days-ish, I think 4. See how it's separated? Just gonna shake it, 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 shake it. There you have it. Thank you for being with me today. If you have any questions, leave them below.